Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and today I have with me Oscar Martinez, founder at Velos. Oscar, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. Good to be here.
Awesome, awesome. And before we start recording, you mentioned that you're in Seattle. We're
That's right.
recording December 12th. So I'm guessing Seattle is beautiful this time of year. Like not
Yeah.
not cold, just kind of like rainy but nice.
It's gray. It's very gray.
Okay.
I haven't seen the sun in a few days, but we're praying that it's coming out tonight. We'll see.
It's still a beautiful area.
It is nice. It is. It's I went to school in Chicago and that was actually cold. This is it's calm. It's not bad.
Exactly. Compared to the snow of the Midwest or the
Exactly,
Northeast,
exactly. Yeah.
the Pacific Northwest is a beautiful region, even if it's not particularly sunny.
Yeah.
Uh, so we always give the guest the chance to give the elevator pitch. What is Velos?
Yeah. So Velos is an AI-powered automation platform. If you've used a robotic process automation solution like UiPath, I like to joke that it's an actually intelligent RPA. And so what we do is we help operations teams automate manual human-driven processes that are required to run their business using AI assistance instead of outsourcing to offshore business process outsourcing or to robotic process automation.
Yeah. Okay. So okay. So automate manual human driven processes using AI assistance. Okay. So uh, it looks like you're focused on insurance and healthcare. Uh,
That's right.
our listeners are very much insurance. So why the focus on insurance, and how did you come to focus? Why is this important in the
Yeah,
insurance space?
that's a great question. When I first graduated college, I was working in on the data team at a small commercial carrier, and I was working in the actual job was to figure out two things. One, how do we effectively shuttle data from our various business processes into one place so that we can run our actual like actuarial models? And then two, on a secondary basis, how do we effectively shuttle information in order to get it in front of our underwriting teams at the time that they need it in order to make better risk decisions? And so very early on in my career, I kind of saw how the sausage was made, so to speak, and kind of understood, okay, like what are what are the limitations? How many systems are typically involved to get anything done? And the one thing that I came away with by the time I left that company was that there was an incredible amount of complexity in doing business in insurance, and it comes from the fact that in order to perform the functions of the business, you often are involving multiple different stakeholders, right? Whether it's like multiple different producers, or even potentially multiple different carriers involved in the same risk. There's multiple software systems that need to play nice with each other. One was written in 1985 and the other one in 2005. And so they not unlike say like traditional SaaS software or whatever, where everything was written in the last 5 years and it all talks to each other. In insurance, that's not the case. And so how do you patch that over? Historically, the way that companies patch that over is they develop standard operating procedures that involve oftentimes people, like transcribing information from one place, entering it into another, or even taking the same piece of information and entering it in three different places. So there's a lot of operational complexity in insurance in particular because of this.
Okay. So over the last, I don't know, decade, we've seen lots of RPA efforts.
Yep.
So why is this type of solution actually intelligent compared to RPA?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you talk to any folks who've had success with RPA, what they'll often tell you is, the ROI or the initial like proof of concept of the automation is fantastic. Like you actually, the first day that you do it, it actually is very impressive. All of a sudden you're doing this thing automatically. The problem with RPA is the long tail of maintenance and support required for these automations to continue to work, either as you scale them across a larger surface area of your business, or just over time as like these software systems change or the format of some document changes. They're very brittle, and because they're very brittle and they break a lot, in order to keep them running as a core part of your business, you often need either like a third party consulting firm who kind of like you have an ongoing contract with, or you need to build up that internal technical team. And once you're building up that team, now that's an expensive dependency on your business. And so with these new automation systems, the primary thing that they are doing and what we're doing is we're leveraging the latest state-of-the-art models, particularly around natural language processing, in order to make sure that our automations have as much flexibility as possible as they execute the automation. In the same way that a human doesn't get tripped up if the form switches places, because they understand the task that they're trying to do. And because of that, the automations require a lot less maintenance, and they can do a lot more for the same amount of configuration.
Okay. Okay. Um, so give me some examples of projects that you've done for clients, and then you're free to name them by name if you want to. You don't have to.
Yeah. I think one of the big ones that's top of mind, because we were looking at it recently, is we have a customer, and one of the things that they do is they have to update their policy admin system every month with data that they get from their TPAs, right? And so oftentimes that is multiple sets of loss run documents and multiple sets of bordereau. And while you would think, hey, those come from another system, they're relatively structured, like what's the problem here? It turns out that there's a lot of parts of that problem that are they can be quite tricky, right? And so what they're able to do is rather than have a team whose job it is to either like manually enter this data from the TPA's email into this other system, they just feed that data right into an email inbox that our system reads from. And then our system is able to look at the data on those documents, look at the data that's already in their policy admin system, and intelligently figure out what needs to be updated, what needs to be entered as new information. And this can happen automatically, right? And it can scale instantly as they say, hey, last month we did, 10,000 records. This month we're going to do 100,000. Like, it's no big deal. You don't suddenly need 10 times as many people to do this.
Okay. What is the implementation like? So if I'm a carrier or broker leader, and I realize that I have a process like this that is painful and that uses a lot of outsourced manpower. So like I recognize a process that would really benefit from this kind of automation. What does it look like when we bring you on, and what does the implementation look like?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, the first thing that I have us start with is always proof of concept. And what I mean by that is, when it comes to especially like AI stuff, there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of promise, there can be a lot of excitement. And there might be a rush to get something over the line on the back of that. But at the end of the day, if the first thing that we want to prove out is we want to prove out, hey, like, is this actually possible? Because it's totally a possibility that somebody actually might come to us with something, and I might say, hey, like, actually, that's not really automatable yet. And so oftentimes the customer will have like one specific flagship use case in mind. And, on the first call, we'll try and like understand what that is. will sign some kind of NDA agreement to protect their data. And then we'll try and put together like a version one, just proof of concept of the automation. So if they say, hey, we get this, we do this, and we ultimately, need it to look like this or go in this system. And we'll be like, great. Can you send me an example? And then we'll show them kind of like, this is what it would theoretically look like, right? And then from there, we would then talk about, okay, this is great as like a standalone integration. But what are the systems that this needs to play nice with? Where is this coming from? Where is this going? And the next step would be, making sure that we're capable of handling that part, because it's no use if we can do this cool thing, but it can't make it into the actual systems that they already use. So that's kind of like what it starts with, very quickly trying to get them to like something minimally remarkable. And then if everyone's still excited after that, then it's sort of the longer process of like, okay, like what, going through procurement, et cetera.
Yeah, what is the pricing like?
It varies. I mean, it ultimately depends on kind of like the scale of what they're doing. So for a small company that's only doing, say, like a very simple process, like taking a simple document and entering it into another system, it might be very cheap. Another company that's like doing that, on the scale of like the order of thousands of automations running at once. There's obviously more compute. So it ultimately depends on like the complexity and the scale of the deployment.
Okay. What kind of commitment do we have to sign up for a whole year, or what kind of commitment is it when we get on board?
Yeah. We try and I mean, so it can be complicated because obviously with some companies, they're used to signing very long commitments, and because of that, their procurement cycles are very long. So the commitment has to be long because it takes a year before we can even, they can say yes. So, but putting that aside, usually we try and err on the side of like let's do something fast, let's do something that's sort of like low commitment. So oftentimes after that sort of proof of concept, what we'll say is let's do a short kind of 2 to 4 month paid pilot together and actually like try and get this in your operations, right? Like have you using this with your team at your company to start seeing the ROI. And if at the end of that, either it's not working, it's not creating value, or it's not a fit, then no harm, no foul. We'll give you your money back, because at the end of the day, if it's working, that's where the long-term relationship is. But if it's not working, then it's not working. So that's kind of like the ideal. If a company can move quickly enough, then usually we try and like kick off something that's like low commitment, fast, and allows everyone to kind of back out if they're not seeing the value that they expected.
Okay. So it looks like on LinkedIn, it looks like you've been doing Velos for about 3.5 years. Uh, so that's a pretty mature startup. Uh, what are you expecting in the future of this service? What else is coming down the development pipeline that you're excited about?
Yeah, I mean, so we have been working on this company for a while. I will say, like, with the startup, like the early years can be like more chaotic, right? I mean, when this company first got started, we weren't using artificial intelligence to automate operations workflows. We were using artificial intelligence to teach computers to play video games. And so it's a lot of the same, it's a lot of the same techniques because, at the end of the day, what is a video game except, making decisions based on like the changing environment of what's happening in the software. But all that to say, it's been kind of like a long journey to focus in on this. In terms of what I'm excited about that's coming down the pike, I would say, um, I think I think that the scope of what of how people are using AI assistance is expanding rapidly. And so like just how you saw people go from what is AI to now everybody's got a chatbot that they're, interacting with on a day-to-day basis. I think very soon you're going to see that most people are going to have some kind of AI assistant running on their computer or running on their browser that, they're able to like tell it to do things, and it's going to be doing things on their screen in the software that they're using. And so it's a little different from what we do, right? Because a lot of what we do is like, hey, this stuff happens in the background. You don't think about it. But, from my perspective, I'm trying to think about like, is there a role to play or is there a world where we're kind of like involved in that, where we're like actually uh, not just doing things in the background, but maybe doing things right there with the person who's, using the software, depending on what they're trying to do. So I'd say that's kind of the big thing that I expect to see a lot of development on from us, from the model developers, from other startups. I think there's going to be a lot of exciting things around that.
All right. All right. Uh, awesome. Thank you. When this goes live, I will tag both you and the company on LinkedIn. Uh, and yeah, very very nice to chat with you and start learning what you guys are doing.
Awesome.